Jujutsu Kaisen is home to powerful sorcerers like the prodigy and strongest sorcerer of today, Gojo. And you also have Sukuna, the king of curses and the strongest sorcerer of the past. So with two super strong and interesting characters taking much of the spotlight throughout the series, you kind of forget what most of the other sorcerers are like. I'm not even talking about Yuta or Hikari or even Kajaku, but I'm talking about the bottom of the barrel sorcerers. I'm talking about the ones who are mostly the majority of Jujutsu sorcerers. They aren't necessarily really super bad, but they aren't really super impressive either. Mai obviously is one of the worst sorcerers. Arguably, she's the worst one. Her curse technique is construction, able to create objects with cursed energy. Yeah, it sounds pretty good, but she barely has any cursed energy. With the little cursed energy she has, she can only make a single bullet to fire from her Glock. Like, why even make a bullet? The bullet isn't any stronger than a regular bullet. I mean, her own sister caught the bullet, so all that effort went to waste. Stick to buying packs of ammo, cause what's the point in even wasting your time making one bullet that didn't do anything? I mean, in the end, she did make a pretty powerful weapon, but she died right after, so is it really worth it? Momo Nishimiya is another fellow Kyoto student who surprisingly is a semi-second grade level sorcerer. So you would think that she really isn't that bad. So what's her curse technique? Her curse technique is tool manipulation, which allows her to manipulate tools with cursed energy. And what tools has she used her power on? Well, just a broom. Oh, are you sure she didn't use like another tool?
Nope.
No, literally just a broom. By the end of the series, she never manipulated a single other tool but a broom. Her technique could have been stronger, I don't know. Maybe if she manipulated a Gatling gun or a nuke, but we'll never know because she only attempted to use it on a broom. Let's just say her technique missed the mark on execution, or it's just a trash curse technique. Haba is a lesser-known reincarnated sorcerer that fought Yuji in the Culling Games, who has one of the goofiest curse techniques. And that technique is helicopter hair, and it's pretty much self-explanatory. His hair turns into helicopter blades and he can fly or try to attack people with the blades. It's not a super bad technique because the blades are pretty fast and strong, but it's funny to see one reincarnated guy control and make electricity and another guy has helicopter hair. Hanu is another Culling Game sorcerer who fought Yuji, whose ability also involves her hair. Her curse technique is airplane hair, which allows her to fly around through the air at high speed. So if you like to fly, this is a curse technique for you, but to actually win fights, you really don't beat anyone with this technique. Because spoiler alert, she lost to a rock that Yuji chucked at her. Sorry, but I had to do it. Pretty much the Kyoto side of Jujutsu High has a lot of bums, and Miya is another one. She even gave herself the nickname Useless Miya, and the reason she's useless is her only skill is using a sword and creating a simple domain that slices anything in a radius of 7 feet. The worst part is that when she made a binding vow to never swing her sword again when she attacked Kenjaku, and Kenjaku just caught the blade with his bare hand.
Bruh.
Yoshinobu is the principal of Kyoto, and he has a technique that amplifies sound with the melodies he plays with his guitar, launching waves of cursed energy. But let's be honest, in a fight with a real good opponent, who's actually gonna give him time to set up his speaker and his little guitar and let him play a little riff? Damn, I stand corrected, but imagine losing to that. The way this guy uses his curse technique isn't super bad, but it's pretty mid! Look, I hate to keep dragging on the Kyoto part of Jujutsu High, but here's the last one from there. Their teacher Urahime, who is a semi-grade 1 sorcerer, and her main ability is basically hyping up people. And by hyping up, I mean temporarily amplifying anyone's cursed energy within a range by 120%. I get that it's pretty useful to help your allies during fights, but other than that, she's a liability with no known combat ability. Her only feat is helping up Gojo rev up his hollow purple from 2 miles away and always be mad at my glorious king. Renay was one of Yuji's old classmates who unwillingly got turned into a sorcerer during the Culling Games, and the curse technique he awakened was sugar manipulation. And the power is exactly how it sounds. He can increase his own sugar level and create these soft sugar globs, but he can also pass out from high blood sugar when he does that. He can also help administer sugar to the brain, and that's all he can do. Basically, this curse technique should just be called
diabetes.
The Culling Games are just filled with mid and trash sorcerers, and Remy is another one of them. She's exactly like Haba and Hanu from before. Her curse technique also involves her hair. What's up with all these hair sorcerers these days? Anyways, her technique is scorpion hair, which allows her to use her hair as a weapon to sting people, but it's not very strong because Megumi kinda brushed it off and ignored her. LOL! This sumo wrestler is a reincarnated sorcerer who opens a domain with only the purpose of having a sumo match in it. That's literally the only thing he ever does. Sumo, sumo, and sumo. But both people have to agree to the sumo match, so you can pretty much say nope. This guy's only role was to make a barrier to keep out only Gojo, and really has no other skills outside of wanting to make people coat rags. He also swings around a hatchet like a maniac, and he also fought Mr. Guitar Riff to a standstill, but then got horribly destroyed by Gojo. Boy, does this guy look like Gojo if he did tons of meth and crack. He isn't terribly weak or terribly strong, but the way he fights is terribly disturbing. He goes around yanking and ripping his teeth and eyes out and infusing them with cursed energy to make them explosive and throwing them at people. By the way, his technique doesn't make it any less painful to rip out these body parts. The explosions are pretty powerful, but it doesn't take away the fact of how brutal it is, and this is pretty brutal too. He's another Culling Game sorcerer who teamed up with Registar and Hazunoki to fight Megumi, who could make his hands into claws, but ultimately got killed by Megumi in basically a 3v1. Proving that even if he got 28 points in the Culling Games, he was probably mostly beating trash and fodder and all those hair sorcerers. So after seeing all those sorcerers, you pretty much see there's a lot of pretty bad sorcerers out there, more than there is super good ones. But that's probably because we love seeing the super overpowered ones and the ones with untapped potential. But one thing I love seeing is you pressing that like button and pressing that subscribe button too.